We're familiar by now with reading files, but here we'll include an additional argument. Character encoding refers to the process how computer encodes certain characters. In this case, we'll use what is called UTF-8 encoding, which is the dominant character encoding for the web. We will also replace \n and \r characters. Since this function reads a book, we're going to call it simply read book. The input argument requires the path of the title of the book, so we'll call this argument title path. Since we're defining a function, we need the usual def statement at the beginning. We're going to start this time by writing the docstring. This function will read a book and return it as a string. We'll be using the with statement that we saw in the previous case study. So with open title path, we're opening the file for reading, and then we need to specify encoding, which in this case is UTF-8. We will open this file as current file. We'll get the text by reading in the current file. The missing step for us is to replace the \n and \r characters with an empty string. So we take our text, we'll first replace \n with an empty string. This returns a string, and we can just train the second replace method right after the first. In the second replace, we're replacing \r with an empty string. Finally, we need to make sure to capture the object that we have just created. At this point, all that is left there to do is to return our text object to the caller. We can try out our code. So let's try reading in Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. We'll first run the function definition, so our function is defined. At this point, we're ready to read in a book. In this case, I'm just going to be entering the path manually. Looking at the length, we'll see that Python has read in approximately 170,000 characters, which is all of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. There's a famous line in Romeo and Juliet. Let's see if we can find it. To do this, we'll be using the find method. The line starts, "What's in a name?" The find method will return the index if it finds this substring. Let's see what happens. In this case, we have an index returned by the find method, so we know that this substring is part of the text. Let's extract a sample text starting from this location. So we'll say sample text equals text. We'll start from index. We'll do a slice that contains 1,000 characters. And let's look at the sample text. In this case, we'll see the sample text does start with the famous line, "What's in the name?" So we found the appropriate line.